Okay, so for the new audience, my name is Ravinder Singh. I will be the moderator of this session. First of all, I would like to thank PMI Ukraine for organizing this event and all of you for joining us in the noble cause of assisting Turkey, which has been affected by a natural disaster. I warmly welcome Rika to be a speaker and talk about an integrated MHPSS program model developed by IBU Foundation in natural disaster response and COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. Rika, she's a chairman in IBU Foundation and currently in contract break as ECD consultant in UNICEF, Indonesia, Papua office. Rika is an expert in mental health and psychosocial support for natural disaster response in Indonesia. She has the experiences to deliver the service since 2005 for tsunami and earthquake survivors in their location. She owns the intellectual property right on body movement integration approach, psychosocial and cultural body therapy. Since 2010, she elevated her expertise in developing and implement early childhood development programs, livelihood, community-based organization, development, social business, art, culture-based approach in community development, and mother and child health program by using an impact-oriented perspective. So Rika, welcome to the session. You have the floor and you can start sharing your screen.
Thank you so much, Ravinder and everybody, and then also for the organizer for this fabulous works, for Irena and Oliver, I think, and everybody else in PMI Ukraine. So I want to share my screen. Wait. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I confirm I can see it.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I think fine. I need to open first the slideshow. So you can see it, yeah?
Yes, I confirm.
So a good night for the other place in Europe, and here in Indonesia is still like daylight. I want to present such actually it is a lesson learned we got in IBU Foundation about the MHPSS program because you know in Indonesia it is a prone area of disasters. We are laying on the ring of fires. Like every day, maybe now we had earthquake, a small one, and we had like a lot of disaster here, tsunami, liquefaction, landslide, yeah, you name it, flood and everything. So it's like working in the humanitarian aid and community development in such a developing country like Indonesia with the characteristic of disasters happen all the time. It's also make us resilient, I think. And I do want to share this experience with you all. So this is already presented by Ravinder. But the things that I want to share with all of you is first the brief introduction of IBU Foundation, then also the program model and management we have based on the lesson learned from since 2005, and then how the importance of the collaboration during the response and how long it's actually the response is. And then also about the funding, financial management, because we are a local NGO, national NGO, we deal with funding resources as well. The challenge is there. So we just, I want to share about that, the risks and challenge, and also how to manage the risk and the strategy from it. So it's really specific on this program model. I can share to you all. So what is IBU Foundation? IBU Foundation is like a non-profit organization. Is this established right after tsunami, like in the beginning of 2005. Medical volunteers, psychologists coming to Aceh from all over Indonesia, and then I was there in like maybe on February 2005, like 2 months after the disasters. And then like in the process of this organization establishing. So and then after that registered as a local legally, yeah, to the country office, and we like implement since then we implement humanitarian and also development, mostly for mother and child, and yeah, for youth as well. So it is maybe like about, it is already more, actually more than 100,000 children and mother reached by us, but also it is maybe more, yeah, because we could not record all of the beneficiaries because we are also in the learning process. But and then also, but we can trace. We work like mostly 42 districts all over Indonesia. So you can see here it is Sumatra Island. This is Java Island. It is where we staying, and then also this is Bali. Like many people know Bali, but do not know Indonesia. This is West Nusa Tenggara. This is East Nusa Tenggara. This is Papua here, around here, and then this is Sulawesi, and this is Kalimantan. Kalimantan is the most safe place in Indonesia that it's not happen earthquake there, no volcanoes there. So mostly we work around this in a ring fire area. So move forward. So what is actually Rumah Kencana? This is Indonesia spelling, ya, Rumah Kencana. In IBU is spell ibu. Ibu means mother in Indonesia, in bahasa Indonesia. So Rumah Kencana is actually ruang ramah anak pasca bencana. It is a child-friendly space. Yeah, a child-friendly space after disaster. Rumah is a home. Kencana is a carriage used by king or queen in the Java Island history. And the definition is this is a child-friendly space for children 0 to 18 years old and their parents affected by natural disaster and COVID-19 pandemic. It is developed by IBU Foundation, like maybe restart to, we have this grand design since 2018 when the liquefaction and a big earthquake hit Central Sulawesi. This is that there is like a second for us is profound disaster besides tsunami Aceh. This program is actually integrates mental health and psychosocial support, health service, nutrition, waste promotion, water and sanitation, hygiene promotion, and non-food item distribution. The reference we use to develop this model, it is ISEC guideline for IMHPSS and SPEAR standard. So maybe some of you know about that. This is kind of standard that developed by many of NGOs in all over the world for the SPEAR standard. And then also the MHPSS is also developed by many people. So why we develop this Rumah Kencana? It is like more integrated approach, right? Because as you know, disasters affected all aspects of our life. We suddenly lost our homes, land. Sometimes in the land liquefaction, it happens like somebody has land in this place, and then like the land move like maybe like about 3, 5, 8 kilometers from the places where it was belong to. And then also, of course, grief. You lost some families, and even if you did not lose somebody, that you feel that many things like in sudden vanish in your life, it is really shocking, of course. So therefore, the approach should be integrated. We could not only do the mental health and psychosocial support singular like that. We have to do something else because we deal with the people affected by disasters, the survivors. Like they are there. So many needs occurred when they experience this bad situation. And then also the other thing is the existing gaps in Indonesia for mental health and psychosocial support is really lacking. Just like maybe we are in developing countries struggling with this like more like islands, like many islands in Indonesia, so it's kind of challenge,
Rika?
challenging for us. Now we can hear in, yeah. Hello, do
Yeah,
you?
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, your voice was breaking. Now it's okay.
Oh, okay. So sorry, I think maybe a problem with the signal, the signal. So scale of capacity, manpower, weak referral system as well in Indonesia, and then IBU Foundation capacity based on experience and providing mental health and psychosocial support, health service, post promotion and non-food item distribution is already there. So that's why we developed this model. So this is like a little bit introduction what is the conceptual framework behind Rumah Kencana. The MHPSS framework is actually like have this pyramid. First of all, in the basic level, of course, we have to fulfill the survivors has to receive the good basic services and security. Without that, like the mental health will not going anywhere, will not improve. So and then also the other layer is the community and family support, and then it is not enough because we need some people who can listen to your feeling, to your experience, and then how to shape a new life after, and then after the disaster, because you have to be like the survivors need support to be adapted with a new situation. So there should be focused non-specialized support for them, like the existing of local counselors, and then also the other helpers, the one who can disseminate information, and then also the other one who, the other parties who maybe provide such a capital investment for the survivor to start again their livelihood, somebody else doing things, and then also in the top level, it is a specialized support. It is for those who experience trauma after 6 months of the disasters. They may be categorized the symptoms. It is really clinical for PTSD. They experience that kind of disorder. So they need the psychologist, the psychiatrist. Sorry, I'm having problem with spelling the English. And then also, so this is the pyramid of MHPSS framework. Spear standard, talking about the basic services standard after this disaster, the disaster. It is actually humanitarian charter and minimum standard in humanitarian response. It includes water supply, sanitation, and hygiene promotion. Then the other charter is about food security and nutrition. And then shelter and settlement. It includes non-food items there, and then also the health services. So you can see the source if you want to understand further about this. there. I put the link on the slide. Then we developed this program model. It is actually, again, based on our experience, but also by combining the conceptual framework into the needs occurred in the field among the survivors with various any kind of natural disasters and COVID-19 pandemic. So this is the basic pillars. First of all is the capacity building for IBU volunteers. It is really like obligation for us in IBU Foundation that any volunteers who will be deployed to the site where the disaster happened, they should have the capacity building first, because many of when the disaster happened, a lot of people want to come, want to help, but they just realize when they arrive at the site of the disasters, they feel like they don't know what to do. And then there are so many crowd, hectic situation, and there are volunteers there who didn't know what to do. So it is really like sad situation. It is good to help people, but sometimes if it will be such a burden, it's a backfire if this person want to help and they didn't have any kind of capacity or any other experience when they are in the situation. So I think maybe in Turkey also a lot of things like this happen, yeah. And then the second one is the collaboration. This collaboration is important because us, IBU Foundation, is not really big organization. We only have sometimes in such period we have the medical doctors in our structure, but maybe in sometimes in the next period we did not have the medical doctors. So that's why we need the collaboration. Currently, we have more on psychosocial facilitators and mental health specialists, but we did not have medical doctors. So we sometimes collaborate, not sometimes. Now I think we maintain our relationship with them, with the groups, with the institution to continue the work. And then also the other important thing is coordination with local government, NGOs and relevant community groups, even if the survivors they're experiencing devastating situation, the grief, the loss, but so many also people want to do something for the neighbor, for the community. So we kind of make them also as a partners, as our partners, um, to work in providing the response. And the non-food item identification, of course, we did that because we have to. We don't have experience in providing the infrastructure such as homes, buildings like that, or maybe any other hardware infrastructures. But we have the capacity to provide non-food item because it is embedded to our approach in the hygiene promotion and then also for the psychosocial activity. And then after that, we cascade our capacity building to the local volunteers, health workers, teachers, youth, and then in coordination with the local government. Then after, like we have this capacity building at the same time, but also our volunteers provide the services on regular basis, like maybe once or twice a week in such location, and then one and twice a week as well in the other location. So the volunteers have their own schedule to provide on a regular basis responses. So the activity is the MHPSS activity for children and parents, was promotion, nutrition, mostly supplementary feedings. It's like maybe we provide fruits during the activity, waters, something like that. Or sometimes the woman group also can cook for the children in the child-friendly space. And also we provide mobile clinic with the medical doctors in there, and non-food item distribution. In the next phase, we usually like, because we have already facilitate the capacity building session, then we do hope that the referral system in such area can work. But actually it is not really happen in all of places, because yeah, the capacity building or the skill is there, but sometimes the government is changing and everything, and the policies change in the future. So this is kind of our challenge also, to really develop a strong referral system for the mental health. Usually in Indonesia, we embedded this structure into the primary health center and the community. Then actually before, in the emergency phase and the early recovery, although the referral system is not really well established, the psychological condition and health status among children and parents is still improved. So what is the activity? There are 7 activities in the MHPSS developed by IBU. It is like the integration approach. So it is not only mental health, but we also provide something else. First, it is the building sense of security within the groups, then understanding the cause of natural disaster or COVID-19 pandemic to the children or parents. We disseminate the information to them, and then also somehow we simulate or demonstrate it through the playing materials with games and everything else, and exploring psychological changes, stress symptoms after disaster, because they need to understand what kind of feeling they have, and then they compare before the disaster happened and then after the disaster happened. Then building the sense of self-capability, it is more in relaxation. Psychological first aid is here. Body awareness through body movement integrative approach. It is kind of, it is not, it looks like body theater or maybe yoga for some people who do not understand. But body movement integration approach is actually that you are free to move your body slowly with whatever movement you want to have. So it's just like you flow with the movement within you. You feel that, and then you move. Maybe like about, it can be like various 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you can use it also in the daily basis. The building, then the other pillar is building awareness on healthy food and providing supplementary feeding during activity, like I told you earlier. Building sense of autonomy, it is more into personal and environmental hygiene practice. They clean their areas, they sorting the waste or the garbage into organic, non-organic, and then do something about the organic to become the fertilizer, something like that. And then also the most important thing is building awareness for protection from violence, because in the stressful situation, even like the parents become more harsh to their children, more annoyed into the situation, or become like neglection. So many things. It is not only violence from the outsiders, but also among the family members. So this is the program management. I think it is important also for us to share about this, because there is something unique that in Indonesia, first we had like in the pre-planning stage, we only have like 3 multiply 24 hours for our organization to decide whether we will respond to this disaster or not. But currently, because we compare between the flood, the fresh flood, for example, and then the common flood, the normal one, and then also with the cyclone that happened in the East Nusa Tenggara Timur, in East Nusa Tenggara. and then also the earthquake and everything else. I think we shorten this period of time to have to multiply 24 hours for the executive officer to decide whether, or the team and his team, of course, to decide whether we will respond to the disaster or not. Then after we decide to respond, then we will conduct rapid assessment and location survey. And then also at the same time, there is another team to publish the situation report to public and donors, and opening public donation also to the public, and we recruit volunteers. And in the planning, of course, it is like common for all of you maybe, the programmatic planning, volunteer capacity building and deployment, coordination with key stakeholders, procurement plan, it is happen in the planning, and then like maybe only like the capacity building only like 2 days, and then we go like deploy the volunteers to start the intervention through the MHPSS activities, mobile clinic, and everything. So beside the activities implementation, there are also collaboration with medical doctors and psychologists association, continuous coordination with key stakeholders, and volunteer shifting, because we need to mitigate the burnout potential among volunteers, especially for those who work for mental health and psychosocial support. And then also the monitoring, we see the progress among survivors, we check their feeling, we check the situation, we check also how the settlement, whether they have go back to their place or they still staying in under the tent, or in the refugee site of refugee site. So we check the situation all the time. Internal regular meeting also daily during emergency phase is daily, because we have to update every situation in really like fast pace. And also we like updating the situation report to public. The publication officer will do that, and monitoring meeting with government and the other NGOs. Then in the evaluation, we could not have like in disaster response context, we could not have the evaluation that happened like in the development programs. So we are more like simple, and then we got this testimony from, because through the counseling, we know the progress of the billing. We see all the location where IBU Foundation works, and then also we see the data. It is like more simple than the community development type of program, and the lesson learned documentation and the reporting. So this is the management. And then how long is actually the duration of response? Of course, it is depends. What happens in Turkey maybe need more times, months, and into years, but it is like happen also in tsunami and the liquefaction in central Sulawesi. So it depends on the scale of disaster and then the impact to the affected community. And also that is typical here in Indonesia, readiness and capacity of local government, capacity in IBU Foundation itself, especially the financial and manpower. Mostly IBU could implement the response from emergency to early recovery phase only. Like by minimum it is 1 month, but mostly 6 months until 1 year, and only a few until rehabilitation and mitigation phase due to the availability of fund. We have difficulty on that. So it is the challenge we have. Therefore, the response also, we want to do more, but we have to limit ourselves. But then we still continue to monitor, although we did not, for example, if we could not work longer, although the survivors or the community needs it. So we will coordinate with the stakeholders with the local government there, with the local volunteers to always update situation. Then this is also what I heard from the other speakers earlier. The collaboration it is really important. Yes, we feel that, we experience that. That during the response, we sometimes have many challenges in the resources, in the mobilization. So we need to really have a good collaboration. We work with volunteer networks, including students organization, medical student organization, and youth local community in the disaster area, in with psychologists association in West Java and in Indonesia, and psychology faculty of Pajajaran University, local government and its institution, disaster institution, social affair, women and child protection, health, education, and the other local NGOs who have similar vision and mission. And also we work with international NGOs, Save the Children, Parent International, UNICEF, Health, World Jewish Relief, Caritas, Child Fund Indonesia, and so on. So this is the risk and the challenge. The risk and challenge we face, we categorize into internal and external. The challenges that internally is volunteers mobilization and management, because we always have new volunteers with us in every disasters. Yeah, of course, there is the one that has good experience in managing the disaster, but mostly many students want to also help the survivors. We could not reject that, but we could manage. So we sometimes make such a level, the senior one, the one who have already had a good experience, will coach the new volunteers, but also because it is new experience living in the disaster area that nearby the location of the disaster, it's also quite exhausting for them. And then also sometimes there are conflict, and then there is a problem with the living space. We could not find a place to where IBU Foundation team will work. Then the other challenges, it is the disaster required fast response and also fast expenses. So it is quite challenging in the financial as well, but also because we work with donors or sponsor, and then we have to make it accountable. We also have to deal with programmatic and administration works, yeah, programmatic and financial administration work. And also we face the challenge in capacity to manage various donors, funding for the different program outcome and output. We have this grand design, but sometimes the sponsor or the donors want to have only health program, health services. And then the other one is want to have like only psychosocial. The other one is maybe for non-food item distribution. So many various donors with their interest. And then we have this grand design. It is help us. It also coping the challenges we have with having this kind of grand design. Then what is the external one? The rapid changes in emergency phase, change of location, wider survivors group and demands. It is like the most difficult situation we face in the disaster response, when many of community, many of survivors ask question, why you only have this person, why you only have the group of people with you but not us. It is like difficult situation we face from the survivors themselves. Then the funding availability and the capacity of fundraising from public, because we deal with competition also in Indonesia, and the government capacity and perception to the local NGO. Sometimes some people from the government also still have that negative perception that we are coming only to check their whether their work is accountable or not, whether there is a corruption or not in the matter of disaster, because many of corruption cases, although there are grief everywhere, sad situation, but it is the brutal truth. And then also we have to deal with the limited stock of supplies from existing vendors, because like when we have a big requirement, because the community affected by the disaster is a big numbers, then we also have the issues in the logistic and supply. And then the risk we have, and we could not always solve these problems. We may have the anticipation to mitigate, but it still happens. It is the potential of burnout among volunteers, the potential of secondary traumatic stress disorder, or HPSS volunteers. I myself had this STSD after 1 year and 9 months works in Aceh. So I have like 1 year traumatic symptoms, and then I could not understand. I thought that it is only like recalling from the latest experience, but you really feel that you dream about tsunami all the times. You feel sad in the sudden, any kind of symptoms of STSD. So I got therapy on that, and this is kind of risk that should be aware with the volunteers who want to work with mental health and psychosocial support. Do not worry about that, but because the other side, our empathy is increasing also. The empathy skill, social skill is increasing because maybe our emotion is become trained by the effect of disaster. And there is also big money and big risk, potential of misconduct and fraud when there are big procurement. Also, it is can possible to happen within the organization done by a specific person who could not cope with the temptation to do the fraud. And then there is also the external risk, potential community rejection, because here in Indonesia, some community group is really still sensitive about the aid that coming from the different religion group. If they, like for example, Muslim community, if they saw the cross there in the logo, they will like really like anxious about that. And then it is happen like it was happen maybe in Cianjur in the recent disaster in West Java. There are some group of people who reject the support. Crowd and hectic situation at disaster location, lower public donation trend during and after the COVID-19 pandemic, also the risk we face until now. So this is the risk management and strategy. There are like organization regulation, program design, volunteers capacity building, coordination with government, community perception and belief, financial and logistic management. So do I still have time, Ravinder?
Yes, we have 15 more minutes. You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I try to make it short. The regulation of organization, it is important for all project managers and all the boards in the organization to have the simplified but accountable emergency response standard operational procedures, volunteers management strategy, and also measurement tools, rapid assessment tools, simple evaluation tools is like not giving too much burden to the program team to with the administrative works, but more using the measurement tools as the way they should monitor everything. So it's more in the mindset than in the really like papers. And then also financial, logistic, and administration is really important to have like maybe flexibility in the bidding. If in the normal situation, we have to have 3 bidders, but in the disaster response, sometimes we need to have waiver, but with the approval of the relevant person. Then we also, it is really beneficial to have the grand design in emergency response. It is like privilege for IBU because we always face any kind of disaster. So it is also easier for us to learn and then to develop the grand design. To evaluate and refine after the program is accomplished, of course, and then to evaluate and refine the measurement tools. It happens all the time because we have to adjust between the type of disaster, or among the type of disaster. For example, you have a different specific measurement tools for the flood. You have a different category for the landslide, different for tsunami, different for earthquake, and so on. And also for the volunteers capacity building, before the response, I already mentioned about this. It is a big obligation, but it is not only the programmatic aspect. Yeah, it is also important for the volunteers to have PSEA, the sexual exploitation potential and everything, for the code of conduct, safeguarding, and also stress self-assessment and self-care. That's really important to mitigate the burnout or the effect after you work for such a long time in the disasters. Then during the response, embedded the capacity building session through the regular monitoring strategy that is brief, like maybe 1 hour or 30 minutes. For example, coaching, the briefing, learning reflection. Maybe you can take a longer hours after like 1 week. It is fine, like maybe maximum 2 hours. And after the response in rehabilitation and mitigation phase, it is also important to establish volunteer rosters and provide capacity building on ERDRR, SPHERE standard, and MHPSS. Then the coordination with the government, every NGOs, every people who work with disaster should be actively involved in the cluster coordination. Usually, like when there are UN, OCHA, UNICEF work in the field, there are like various of cluster protection, MHPSS, health, non-food items, shelters, so many. So we should pick and coordinate with the one that is relevant with our objective. Stakeholders should be identified before the response through rapid assessment and updated during the response, and also to implement really formal and informal approach to coordinate with local government. Yes, somewhere in the beginning they are like maybe have this kind of not good perception on us, but government also, those officers are human beings, so informal approach is also needed to have a good conversation with them. Community perception and belief, it is to mitigate, or the strategy we implement is first to understand that the affected community might react negatively as they are experiencing a stressful situation. So somehow the rejection that based on their belief in the religion, it sometimes maybe also the symptoms of stress. So we could not really see it as really like a constraint. Maybe they need help to talk, to share their feeling as well. Then to clarify the information through face-to-face meeting with community leaders and representative attended by local government. It is also really important to have the third party there to mediate the dissemination, and to communicate with the donors about the situation and discuss the solution, because we understand that the donors also have their own responsibility to have their logo visible in the location. But we are grateful because our donor have a really good understanding. For example, World Jewish Relief, they have really good understanding with us. So we kind of find a solution to not really make the logo visible, but still there for making the donation accountable for the World Jewish Relief. Then financial and logistic management, beside the regulation, there should be special segregation of authority, financial limit authorization, specific for disaster, and then also intensive financial monitoring from headquarters to program, weekly and maximum monthly basis, checking all financial documents and proof of transaction, and to have a list of good vendors before the disaster. It is really good for organization to list all the vendors. So when the disaster happened, we know to whom we should have contact with. That is also has already proven accountable and updated continuously. So thank you so much for your participation, and then I'm sorry if I have my spelling or everything is not clear to you, but I do hope it is really beneficial for all of you. So Ravinder, go back to you again. Thank you.
Okay, so we have few queries. I'm not sure whether you can access Slido, but you can check. This is the link.
Yeah.
And it has a code. You can go there and maybe you can share your screen and we can quickly go through it. I believe most of the queries asked by audience indirectly answered during your presentation. So, but still, we can capture the gray area there.
So I will read from the top. Yeah, when you say that religious conflicts and belief can also play a role in helping people, how do you address these challenges?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, there are like two side of situation. Somehow, the religious belief also it is really beneficial for the people to improve their psychological condition. For example, if because Indonesia, many of people have a strong belief for their religion on also for the destiny of God, why the God gives them disasters. So for them to learn to like to do such reflection. Sometimes it is also burden, so because they are also guilty feeling for this. The guilty feeling, like maybe I did something wrong, I did so many sins, and also look, that's why Aceh hit by tsunami, because many of us is now become forgetting God and everything. But also the other positive side is like, because they know that, oh, it is destiny, we have to accept that. So sometimes it is also good to improve the psychological condition, but also sometimes it's become a challenge. So to deal with that, of course, the counseling, the talking, the sharing, and then also to focus more on the information. What is the cause of disasters from the science point of view? What is happened? And then also to give some example in the other places, so it can make people feel relief. But for the any other conflict that happen because of that is a bad perception, a negative perception about why you are Christian want to help us Muslim, for example, like that, like you want to us to become a Christian. So that's kind of things that happen. It has happened some. It's common happen here in Indonesia, but we don't, as a volunteers or a project manager, we should not be panic about that. We just like try to listen to them. Sometimes they only need somebody to listen to. So we And then we also like prepare the counselors, the volunteers to really like have the session with those people. But if this conflict make a bigger problem, therefore we need to have a good discussion. And then if the community still reject the aid, then that is fine, because we can move to the other location that is also need the aid, and they are more accepting. So that's how we address the challenge.
Okay. We have a few more. Can international candidates volunteer?
Yes, we have actually international volunteers when we work in Aceh. We are open for this, so you can contact IBU Foundation. We are active in Facebook and also Instagram. But if it is there is a disaster, we are like having this special mechanism to accept the international volunteers. It is not only for the disaster actually, sorry, but also for the development. Like now we are accepting international volunteers for finance, for IBU Foundation from AFID. Do you heard about that? I mean, this is like an association of accountants all over the world, and then we have already linked with them. And then I think now, currently, we are in discussion to have such a capacity building session from these volunteers, from this accountant to our volunteers in the foundation.
Okay, there is one more. What major challenges do you face when it comes to education and raising awareness? I think you did cover about the community part and the religious belief, right? Apart from that, any other major challenges?
Yeah, I think education, raising awareness is kind of already I told in the presentation, but specifically the key point is the regular basis, the regular meeting. Like you may be faced with some people who do not understand so well about things, then you have to do like more than one meeting. So IBU Foundation is quite good in the community engagement. It is really rare for us to only give response in like only 1-2 days. We by minimum we have 2 weeks to stay in a small scale disaster, but longer in the disaster to really ensure that the stakeholders, the key pillars in the community is really like can have a sufficient capacity to continue what has been done. So that's
Okay, and we have one, is your NGO funded by government? It makes it more valuable.
no, we are not. We are non government organization. So, but we are in partnership with some government party, like for example, with the city government, if they want to have like trainings when where IBU has the competencies on that. So the government, we have this kind of partnership. They pay us, but it is not in really like strategic partnership, because we also need to be neutral. So it's kind of we are more like limiting ourselves into like more output based activities with the government.
Okay, we have one more. Besides Indonesia, do we have branches of your office in other countries? Because it looks like
No, it is only in Indonesia. But if you want to have partnership with us, to share the information, to share the knowledge, the experience, we are open for that.
okay, okay. Okay, anything else, team, you would like to ask? Please feel free to put it in the Slido.
So, Yeah, and there is another comment. It looks like your program and concept could be shared with other organizations in different countries. Yeah, please do. We will be happy to share. And then because in HPSS, peer standard is open for the contextualization, so it can be tailored into the local approach. And then we maybe can provide you like tips how to do that, and then to still stick the approach into the social and cultural characteristic in your country.
Okay, so I think we are almost done with our slot.
Yeah.
In short, thank you for joining us and again enlightening us with your ideas. I truly believe your NGO is really doing a great job. I really admire that. And if from my end, I have only one word of feedback, keep it up. Okay, I will close this session and stop the recording.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And I will pass the ball to Aurora. I see she is in.
Hello.